Hello retro anime fans. I'm going to do a few videos on my Robotech comic collection. I'm not going to get into what exactly Robotech is, and I'm not going into a discussion about whether it was good or bad for Macross and for anime in North America. I grew up with it. It introduced me to anime and Macross. Macross is my all-time favorite anime franchise, but I love the Robotech story, including most of the various comic book series. The comics took the 85 episodes of the Robotech TV series and expanded the story. And then Eternity Comics and Academy Comics took the Sentinels script, which was going to be a sequel to the TV series, and they adapted them into a comic series called Robotech 2: The Sentinels. They also expanded upon that story with various one-shots. There's also a newer reboot of the original Robotech series by Titan Comics. Right now it is on hiatus. The comics are the main reason I love Robotech as much as I do. Yes, I love the TV series, but if it were only a TV series, then Macross, Southern Cross, Genesis Climber, they would have all been fine for me on their own. But because of the comics and even the novels, I love the expanded Robotech story. I don't have complete runs of these series. I have a little over 200 Robotech comics. I'm always buying more to fill in the gaps, but I'm a cheapskate, so I look for the best deals I can find. So here's my Robotech comic collection. This is Macross issue 1, which was originally going to be an adaptation, a straight adaptation, English adaptation of the Macross anime series published by Comico Comics. But after issue 1, they decided to go with Robotech. I'm not going to get into the whole reasoning for that, but basically they licensed Harmony Gold's Robotech and created a comic adaptation. So here's issue 2. Here's issue 3. Issue 3 was penciled by Neil Vokes. The cover is by Mike Leake. Issue 4 was penciled by Reggie Byers. Reggie Byers is in our group. He is known also for his comic that he created back in the 80s, early 90s, manga style comic called Shuriken. Issue 6. Now, Neil Vokes and Reggie Byers did a lot of the art on the Robotech Macross Saga series. Issue 7. Issue 8. Issue 10. 11. There might be a glare on some of these. I'm not taking them out of the bags. This is 12. This one is 14. This one I just got, so it's not in a bag, and it's 15. And Mike Leake did a lot of the pencils on a lot of these covers. This is 16. 17. Here's issue 18. Still got a nice little price tag on the cover. Not on the cover, but on the bag. Here's issue 23. 24, 25, 27, 33. Some of these later covers, Mike Leake did the pencils and Mike Chen did the inks. Now here's the last issue of the Macross Saga, which is issue 36. This is my favorite Robotech comic cover. There's a long story behind it, but basically, before I had ever seen any Robotech anime, before I'd seen any Macross anime, because there was no Macross anime in America in the 80s, this is the first time I saw Robotech, the last issue, strangely enough. I love this splash page. So this is just straight up nostalgia for me. This issue, like I said, first time I was introduced to Robotech, the last episode of the series, of the Macross Saga series. I used to see this all the time. And it was not on my local channel. The writer that wrote most of the, or the last few at least, issues, adapted the last few issues of Macross Saga, passed away a few issues before it ended. Comico always did these great wraparound covers. Okay, so that was the Macross Saga. Next is the Masters series, along with the New Generation. Now, they did this Robotech special between Macross Saga and Masters. It kind of bridges the gap between Macross and Masters from Dana's point of view. We're not going to get into that. So this is issue 1 of Masters. Mike Barron adapted a lot of the Robotech Masters issues, and Neil Boakes did pencils. Not on all of them, but on quite a few. This is issue 2. Issue 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 11. 12. 13. 14. This is one of my favorite Robotech Masters comic covers. It's not my favorite one, but it's one of them. 16. 21. And then we get into the new generation. This is the third series. And this is issue 1. This is issue 3. Jack Herman adapted at least these earlier New Generation comics, and Jeff D was the artist. Number 5. I'm going to open this one up, show you the wraparound cover. This is what Comico did back in the day most of the time. It was pretty cool the way they did this. I used to love those. Issue 6. Yeah, we just recently had Cool Motorcycles and Bikes Day in our group. By the way, when I say our group, I'm talking about our Facebook group, the Super Dimensional Anime Club. Number 7, 8, 9, and he's really excited about something there. 10, 13, it's a weird issue. 14, I like this cover. And then that's all I have for New Generation. I still need to get a few of those. This, obviously 3D, there are the glasses, is a 3D adaptation of the first episode of Robotech, Booby Trap. Had to take that out there. If you've never seen a 3D comic book, this is what it looks like without the glasses. Pretty confusing. And I think that wraps it up for my Comico comics. Okay, so forgot to show you my last Comico publication is Robotech the graphic novel. This was written by Mike Barron, penciled by Neil Vokes, and then the cover is by Ken Stacey. This tells the story of what happened before the Macross Saga, which is basically the story of Zor and how the SDF-1 came to Earth. Yeah, it's not in the best condition, but don't really care. Cool cover, nice art, nice color. There you go. Robotech the graphic novel. Okay, so I don't want to get into a long explanation of what Robotech 2 The Sentinels is. Basically, Harmony Gold was going to make a sequel series to the Macross Saga, told the story of Rick and Lisa and Minmay, Max, Maria going into space on the SDF-3 to stop another war, find the Masters, go to the Masters' home planet, stop a war before they made their way back to Earth, before the Masters made their way back to Earth. The series never happened. There was a movie which contained like the first 3 or 4 episodes, and then the series never happened. So Eternity Comics adapted it into a comic book series. They were divided into books. This is book 1. So this is issue 1. Tom Mason and Chris Ohm did the writing, and the Waltrip brothers, Jason and John, did the art, which I love. I love the Waltrip's art. So this is issue 1. This is also issue 1. One's yellow and one's blue. Gotta have them both. Number 2. Also, the Waltrip brothers would alternate issues. So one would do the pencils on one issue, the next issue, the other brother would do the pencils, and I believe they alternated the inks. So it was like Jason did pencils, John did inks, next issue, other way around. Okay, so there's also a variant for issue 2. This is a great cover. This one's by John Waltrip. Number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Another good cover. I like this one. This one is also John Waltrip. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Here's 15. This is the first Robotech Sentinels comic I ever bought. Before I had a clue what was going on. I picked it up in my local comic shop when I had barely found out about Robotech and had a few issues of Robotech. Still hadn't seen the TV series, by the way. This is the first one I got. This is my favorite Robotech Sentinels cover. This is by Jason Waltrip. Let me show you a little bit of the inside. So yes, it's black and white, which I didn't mention. The Sentinel series was black and white. I mean, indie comics back then were mostly black and white. There were some color, but it's cheaper to do black and white. It's a good splash page there. So I like the tones. I like the art. You know, it may not be for you, but I love the Waltrip's art. Miss the letters pages in comic books. You'd actually get a lot of information from letters pages back then. Okay, so remember these came out in 91? 90. This one's February 90. And then here's the last issue of book 1, number 16. So I have the complete run of book 1. I don't have the complete run of books 2 and 3, and I believe I don't have any of book 4. Book 4 is super rare. They're hard to find. Well, maybe not hard to find, but they're very expensive for a Robotech comic. So this is book 2. Here's issue 1. 2, 3, 4. Sorry about the tag there. This is issue 5. It's not even the right tag. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Another great cover. That is by John Waltrip. 11, 12, 14, And this is 15. 16. The issue number is getting smaller, so it's hard to see. That's 17. 19. 20. So I'm only missing a couple from book 2. This is book 3. Book 3 started out with The Untold Story, which was a special issue 1. It wasn't the issue 1. There's a book 3 issue 1. This was Robotech Sentinels, The Untold Story, special edition. It's special for some reason. So here's book 3. I only have a few of these. This is number 1. Number 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. Okay, so this was the last issue published by Eternity Comics. Then Academy Comics got the license, and they continued same artists right where they left off. But the artists, John and Jason, also took over as the writers because Chris and Tom worked for Eternity. Like they were some of the top dogs. They weren't just going to move over to another publisher. So these are the only 2 I have from Academy, and they're book 3, and they're issues 9 and 12. Took this one out. The reason I only have 2 issues of the Academy comics are because they get to be a lot more expensive. So haven't even gotten into book 4 yet. But everything's pretty much the same. The art, the story is still great. They didn't do a straight adaptation of the script from Robotech to the Sentinels. Some things they went off on their own. Same thing with the novels. There was a series of novels, and the novels went off kind of on their own a little bit. They didn't deviate too much, but they did their own thing. So that was Robotech the Sentinels. Okay, so here's the thing about Robotech the Sentinels. Robotech the Sentinels comic book series ended before it was finished. Let me say it got canceled before they finished the story. The novels completed the Sentinels story. So, I have read all of the Sentinels comics. I do not own them all, but I have read them all. I wanted to complete the story. I did not read all the novels. So what happened was I found out in this book, number 4, where the comic series ended. So I read, it was about 2/3 of the way through this novel. So I read this, read book 5, which finished the story, which is great. And then you have the end of the circle, which was a final story that completed the entire Robotech story, including Sentinels. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but it was worth the read. It's not the greatest, but it's good. So that's World Killers, Rubicon, and the End of the Circle. Okay, so while Eternity was publishing the main Robotech 2 Sentinels story, they did some side stories. Now, I don't know why they did this, but they put the wedding episode into a 2-issue miniseries. So this is Robotech 2 The Sentinels, the wedding special. Min-Mei was not happy. Okay, now they did these Robotech worlds of Robotech little one-shots, and they're actually pretty cool. This one is Amazon World, Escape from Praxis. This is Crystal World, and it is Prisoners of Spheris. So in the Robotech Sentinel story, they're visiting different planets that the I can't recall right now if it was the Invid or the Masters had taken over or trying to take over or fighting over. So each planet had kind of like a representative, these different aliens, and those are the Sentinels. So these different worlds of Robotech are kind of like a story that went on each of these planets. Secret of Hayden 4, Cyber World. And then Pharaoh World, Nightmare on, I don't even know how to pronounce that, Garuda. I think I have all the Robotech World comics. I'm not sure if there's another one. I don't recall. I have to look at my app. I have an app that keeps track of all that. Okay, so then there are these illustrated handbooks. These are pretty cool. I just got these a few weeks ago. 1, 2, and 3. So they basically look like this. They're handbooks. They're drawings of characters, mecha. Kind of cool. So that's 2 and 3. Okay, I don't have the complete run of the Malcontent Uprisings. I think there's 12 issues. This is the story that took place during the time skip of the Macross saga. I can't remember exactly which episode the time skip took place, but this story is basically Max and Maria. So there's issue 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8. And then we have the Cyber Pirates, which is this story, if I remember right, it takes place between Macross and Masters. I think maybe 3 or 4 years before Masters. I have the first and second and the third and the fourth. I think it's a 4-issue series. Okay, here's some more Sentinel stuff. I have some trade paperbacks. This is volume 4 of Robotech to the Sentinels, Mission Impossible. So it collects 11 through 14, issues 11 through 14. That's basically what it is. And then this one is volume 3, Operation Tyrol. And it collects 7 through 10. And then this is the first volume. I don't know why I had these out of order. The jacket for this is torn up. Don't care. It's a hardback. And it is issues 1 through 4. Nice little torn up cover there. Don't care. Lastly, I have this. So this is the for the role-playing game for the Sentinels. It's kind of cool. A lot of information in there for you hardcore Robotech Sentinels fans. I don't know how many there are. And there's the wedding. Min May was not happy. Okay, so I have these by Blackthorn Publishing, issues 2 and 4 of the official How to Draw a Robotech. I also have issue 3, but I cannot find it in my closet. Let me open up one of these and show you how you can draw a Robotech. You can draw Min May. That's pretty much what it is. Okay, so these are going to be some little one-shot and short mini-series issues that Academy put out while they were doing the main series of Robotech to the Sentinels. This first one is the first, well, not the first, but they put this out as soon as they got the license. And maybe it was the first. Maybe they put this out right before they put out issue 9 of the Sentinels. Anyways, it tells it's like a catch-up issue. It tells the story from beginning to up to the point where they were at. It's pretty cool. It's kind of rare. I was lucky to find it for the price I found it for. Bill Spangler, he did a lot of Robotech comics. We'll be looking at his in a little bit. They did a adaptation of Movie Trap, Spangler. And then they did Metal Swarm, also Bill Spangler. And then they did these 3 Macross missions. They're just little one-shot stories. Quaking Thunder, Destroyed, Excalibur. It's kind of cool. They take place during the Macross saga. And then Mech Angel, I think I need issue 3. No, 2. No, anyways. 0, 1, and 3. So I'm missing issue 2. And this is a one-shot called The Misfits. It was kind of cool. This is Hosk's story by Bruce Lewis, who ultimately, what they would say was this is an alternate timeline. A lot of fans didn't like it. I probably got it because it was cheap. Same way with this, Mordecai. The art's cool, but the story's eh. It's like an alternate continuation from the end of the New Generation. Okay, so here are some more of the Eternity comics. This series that were published along with Robotech to the Sentinels. This was a short one. I don't remember if it was more than one issue. I have the first issue. It's Firewalkers. And then they did a Genesis series, which The Legend of Zord. If you know Robotech, you know what that is. It's basically a prequel. Number 1. Number 2. 3, which I just got. Okay, so Eternity also did Return to Macross. It was a series that went about 30 or so issues. I can't remember exactly how many. It was pretty good. It has nothing to do with Macross Zero. It's not based on Macross Zero, but it's a prequel to Macross Saga. It's basically what was going on before the SDF-1 landed on Earth. So it's the story of younger Roy Fokker, T.R. Edwards, Global. It has then it has the story of Bretai, which is a separate storyline. For the first few issues, they tell his story. Obviously, he's not interacting with the Earth characters because the SDF-1 has not yet landed on Earth. So that's the Return to Macross. And I think Phil Spengler did the entire series. That was issue 1. This is 2, 3, 6. There's Bretai. 7, 8, 9, 10. They dropped the Bretai storyline about a third of the way through the story, I believe. 11, 12. It's a cool cover. And then after 12 is when Eternity dropped the license to Robotech and Academy took over. May not have been after 12 because this is 16, somewhere between 12 and 16. $17. And then same thing. I only have 2 issues of the Academy because they're harder to find. Eternity Comics also did Invid War, which is a really good series. Bill Spengler also wrote that one. And it starts out midway through the New Generation story and then continues after the New Generation and becomes Invid Aftermath. So the first few issues have a lot of Jonathan Wolfe because he comes to Earth partway through the New Generation, which, by the way, he's one of the main characters in the Sentinels. So it's kind of cool the way they took his character. They pretty much took his character, who only had, one episode in New Generation, and they fleshed him out to where his story takes place pretty much across the entire Robotech story from Macross all the way to End of the Circle. So this is issue 1. That's very hard to see. Issue 2, 3, 4, 7. Okay, I need to say that Tim Eldred did a lot of the art on the Invid War. Tim is also a member of our group, our Facebook group. Number 8, number 10, 11, 12. That's a cool cover. So see, as it says, enter a new generation. So then this is when these characters cross over for a few issues into this series, which is kind of cool. 13, 14, 15, 17. Okay, so then they did a few issues of Aftermath, and then what happened was with Aftermath, Bruce Lewis took over on the writing, and fans hated it. The story became an alternate storyline, and it kind of sucks. But like I said, I probably got them for cheap. That's issue 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When I say it sucks, it's not because the storytelling wasn't good or the writing or any of that, but the direction he went with the characters was horrible. Kind of ruined a lot of things. So I think what they did is they said this became Scott's like nightmare. He wakes up from it. I don't even know. But that's what I got. Okay, so Comico, then Eternity, then Academy, a few issues of How to Draw Robotech by Blackthorn. These were all the publishers that were licensed to publish Robotech comics. Academy did not finish the Robotech Sentinel story, like I stated earlier. The novels finished it up. The novels were good. Finished the story, great. Done. Okay, so that main story was over with. Academy lost the license, or they didn't want it anymore. I don't know. They were done with it. Antarctic Press took over. They did a few little series. I don't know any of them. Antarctic Press was and is ran by Ben Dunn, who's also a member of our group. He is really cool. He's got a lot of really great comics. He's the one that created Ninja High School, which is awesome. I just don't own any of his Antarctic Press Robotech comics. So then after Antarctic Press came DC's imprint of Wildstorm. So then they got the Robotech license. So they kind of retold the Macross saga and did some other stuff, and it was all right. The art was good. There's not a lot of original stuff there, but this is what I have. So this is issue 0. Issue 1. Oh, and Tommy Yoon is the one that wrote these, who he basically runs Robotech now. He has for a while. He's not real popular. This is a variant of issue 1. So there's 2 issue 1s. I have this poster on my wall. Number 2, 3, 4. I like this cover. 5. Another variant of 5. 6. And then this is a source book for this 7-issue series. 6 issues plus the 0 series, or the 0 issue. So this is the source book. Then they did this Robotech Invasion short miniseries, which tells the story of Lancer coming to Earth, which it takes place right before New Generation. So he comes to Earth with I think it's the first wave of the expedition returning after the Sentinels story. It's issue 3 of that one. I don't know how long that story went on. I think it was 4 issues. I have a couple of them. This is Love and War. This story took place. It's like a side story to the Macross saga. It's basically Max and Maria, and then they each have a back. There's a story in the back that is a few pages each, and it tells like a little story of Min-Mei when she was filming the whatever movie she was in Macross, a dragon movie, whatever it was, with Lynn Kyle. This is issue 3, 6, And then I have issue 4 of the Shadow Chronicles, which is a movie that Harmony Gold created in the 2000s that was supposed to continue from where the Sentinels left off, and it kind of sucked. But the comics are cool because the art and story are by the art, I mean, is by the Waltrips. So the John and Jason Waltrip came back and did the art for Shadow Chronicles. Also, it's in color. Okay, so this is my last stack. This is Titan Comics. This is the new series that's been on hiatus for a couple years. I think it went on hiatus when COVID happened and never came back. They finished the first series that is a reboot of the Macross saga. They change a lot in the story, but for its own thing, I like it. It's pretty cool. Then they started the Robotech remix, which went, I think, 4 issues, and it was kind of like a Masters remake, but kind of not. It just continued this series, and it is on hiatus. I don't know if they plan on continuing it. I hope they do. But they went really crazy with the end of this series. If you're a Robotech fan, you should check it out. So this is issue 1. There's a few variants for issue 1. Of course, this is my favorite. Issue 1. Issue 1. So here's 5. I don't have the complete run. 6. 7. 8. 10. 11. A variant of 11. This one I love. This is really cool. 12. 13. This is also pretty cool. 15. 16. 17. This is issue 17, variant. It is the Spy Box set cover. I like it. It's pretty cool. It is like an action figure package. And then we have issue 18, 19, 20, and then this is issue 0 for the Event Horizon from Free Comic Book Day. The last few issues were a short series called the Event Horizon, which tells the end of the story for this series. Issue 21, Event Horizon 1, 22, 23, and the last issue of the series, 24. They really blew up the story with this series, not in a bad way. They did a lot of changes to the original story, timelines, time travel. It's pretty cool. Okay, so that's my Robotech comic collection. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Please like. Turn on your notifications. Hoping to have more original content from me and from you members of our Facebook group, the Super Dimensional Anime Club, which if you are not a member, please go and join. See you next time.